How's it going? Did you catch all of that 2-1 win there? Did you steal for it? Have a little nap on the sofa? Did you carry on for a bit, or did you put up with it?
Well, I was rushing back from the city centre. I was a bit delayed, so I missed the first minute of the game. So that's typical of me, that, I think.
You missed the best part, and may as well not tuned in.
I did. I missed, caught the rest of the, saw the highlight, like the flashback of the goal, and solid first half. Just didn't get the other goal, and then it was almost inevitable that we're going to sit deep like we normally do in the second half. And when they got one, I thought, they sort of got out of slumber, I guess. I mean, I'm just relieved that they scored so early in the second half, because had that been 70 minutes onwards, we wouldn't have had time to wake up, I don't think. So, I think we were pretty poor really in the second half against a team that's probably going to finish. Well, they're definitely going to finish in the bottom three, I would think. They haven't spent any money. I think the chairman there, I've spoken to West Brom fans after the match, and they say they haven't spent any money. They've got the skintiest billionaire in the league. It makes our billionaire look pretty generous, I think. So you've got to. I think it's a good club, West Brom, but I think they're happy yo-yoing, and I think Ashley wants to just not yo-yo. He wants to stay, bottom six all the time, doesn't he? But I mean, 11th in the league at the moment. But you look at the teams. I think it was a big result for us today, because I think you look at a lot of the teams that we're ahead of. We're not realistically going to finish above the likes of Arsenal and teams like that. So it's a good safety blanket at the moment. I think if we avoid defeat against your Sheffield United's, Fulham's going forward, by Christmas we're going to almost be safe, which is a little bit of a worry at the same time. That we're not going to do the famous Carver season where we win one game in the last 15 or something. But I think Bruce is, for all his critics, and I'm obviously not as big as fan in the world, and I know he hasn't got a big backing, but I think it's hard to see him go on a run where you're going to lose 10 games in a row the way they play, because they're going to sort of nick the odd win here and there, and they're going to get some points on the board. So it's hard to see them going on a big losing run. So with points on the board, it's be very difficult to see us going down this season now with this platform. But it just takes a few injuries, I suppose. If Callum Wilson, who I thought was absolutely immense today, didn't score, but it's just his hold-up play was brilliant today, and the runs he was making was absolutely fantastic. So I think he was good to watch today. And then I think they had a few plucky performances, but it's just the directive, isn't it? When they get deep, you as a coach, you should be screaming at them, but push up. But obviously he likes them sitting back, so they're just following instructions, a lot of the players. So they just need just better leadership, I guess. Because I think that game was a game that shouldn't have been in the balance today. It should have just been nailed on, especially after such a good start. But at the end of the day, we won. I think that's what we've taken before the game. Just, I think if they'd beaten us or nicked one when it was 1-1, then it would have sucked us back into it, and we would have been looking over our shoulders with worry. But at the moment, we can potentially sort of be fantasists for a couple of weeks and look in front of her and try and get a false league position, bit of Christmas joy, and then see what happens after the new year. But what we have to do 100% is we have to take the cup seriously. If we can get a nick a couple of league wins before Christmas, we've got to be looking at that Brentford game with that, and we can't take any risks at all. I mean, we've just got to put the strongest side out. And we've got to do the same in the FA Cup. I don't see why not. We've had a couple of seasons under Pardew where we got points on the board and then forfeited the cups. And this season, particularly, it's not going to be acceptable. It's not going to cut. There's the excuse of we're fighting relegation, we're this, we're that. It's just not good enough. We've got to beat Brentford. There's nothing about it. And then you never know, in a semi-final against teams that might not take it as seriously, then you've got every chance of getting to the final. But that's the priority now for me.
It's got to be. We've got to take that game seriously against Brentford in a couple of weeks' time, because we'll never get a better opportunity to get to a semi-final. Bruce was fortunate last year with the FA Cup run. Not so much in the FA Cup this year, drawing Arsenal, albeit they're not firing on all cylinders at the minute. But a championship team,
They're not.
and Brentford are a good championship team. They're up there. They could be getting promoted. They play better football than us, to be honest, which isn't difficult. But we're going to Brentford where they're hoping that they're maybe focusing on that promotion push. Play our strongest side. Got to beat them. Got to get to a semi-final. And then imagine one game away from Wembley. Steve Bruce,
Well, 2
legend.
games. Is it 2 games or 1? Is it still?
Beat Brentford and beat semi-final when you're in Wembley.
Is it still the home and away format, or have they changed it to just 1 match for the semi?
No, it's got to be decided on the day.
Okay. So it probably makes it even better for us if it's a one-off game against a good side. So you never know, do you? But we've got to get past Brentford, like you said. They've lost a couple of players from last season, but they're still decent enough league position, so they've set themselves up nicely in the championship. I think they won again today, so yeah, it's got to be the priority. But I think from our point of view, we've got an okay squad. I mean, it should be more than good enough for against championship and bottom of the league sort of Premiership opponents. It just struggles a little bit against the best sides, but Premier League's competitive. It's hard. It's a hard league now, and there's a lot of teams just sort of realise they can't do much, so then don't show any ambition. I just think you look at, and then the standard football, the type of football's, variable as well. So you can be too naive. I suppose we haven't got the players to go toe to toe with the better teams, but sometimes you need to, make more of an effort. I think that Chelsea home game was almost a forfeit this season, wasn't it? It was a whimper, and the FA Cup game against Man City last season was a forfeit. Just get beat 6-0 if you're going to, but don't play for a 2-0 defeat. So that's
all you need
crossed.
to look at is look at Villa thrashing Liverpool when they went for it. City have been thrashed this season. You may as well go for it, because in the end you're going to get beat 2-3-0, aren't you? So why not go for it? I mean, we've got those games coming up with our Christmas, haven't we? We've got Man City on Boxing Day, we've got Liverpool a couple of days later. So under Brucey, those are just 2 forfeits. So that's why it was so important to win the day, I thought.
Yeah. No, it's huge. I mean, the Fulham game leads some interesting games. If we can get to 20 plus points by Christmas before these games, then it just means that like you say, can have a go at the cups. And it's looking this season that it's going to be very low tally's going to keep you up this season. So we'll see what happens. But we're in decent shape at the moment. So let's hope it continues.
All right. Cheers, mate. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Aye, see you, mate. See you after.
Yeah,